You know, I want to interact with my environment more than any game has ever allowed us to do.
But the idea of going through every door and every nook and cranny, but it's just like, give us that freedom a little bit more.
For one fucking game!
We're best friends with this person.
It doesn't matter how much I want to play that one game, it's not going to happen. Because, it's just bland.
But if I knew.
I'm Voiceco.
And I'm Link584.
And you're listening to
The Podcast. Hey there, I am Link584.
And of course, I am Voiceco.
And welcome to another Podcast. And today, what are we going to be talking about?
Video game characters, our overall favorites, and why.
Okay, so this was your topic that you came up with. So who are some of your favorite characters? And, well, why?
My topic, I only just thought of it like 2 seconds ago.
That's true.
Alright, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know.
Well, I know you like Jade.
Well, I do, but I wouldn't say she's my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite games, but not my favorite character.
I see, so there's a separation of favorite games from favorite characters. So that's going to be one of the notes that we're saying up front. Our favorite characters might not be from our favorite games, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put that out there, that's our disclaimer. So, okay, so that's one of your favorite games, not characters. Well, let's see.
Why don't you go first?
Well, obviously, one of my favorite series, by the way, is The Legend of Zelda. And part of this is one of my favorite characters of all time, which is Link. Now, technically, there's multiple Links. There are a ton of them. They're not all the same Link. They're all different generational-wise. They're all covering all these different years. So when I say Link, I mean all Links. I generalize them in my head as one, but when I talk about them, I know that they're separate. But when I picture Link, I picture all the different Links from all the different ages and styles. But if I had to pick a specific Link, I would go with the
Ocarina of Time
or the Twilight Princess Link. Those two Links in particular, and remember Majora's Mask does count in that because that is the same Link as the Ocarina of Time Link. So those two Links in particular are the ones that really stand out with me. Those two in particular. Now, reason why those two Links versus the others? Well, first off, Ocarina of Time, I believe, that resonated with a lot of people. That's one of the most popular video games of all time. Some argue, a lot of people argue that it is the best video game of all time. Well, part of why Link is a favorite is partially his age. You go through the process as a young boy to a young man. And I like the adult... What are you doing?
Nothing.
You're distracting me here.
I'm sorry.
So he goes and becomes an adult. He becomes a young man. He's only 17 at that time, but you resonate with him almost like he's 19 sort of, but you don't get that same age of like what you think of a 19 or 17-year-old today. You really think of him as a young man because this is an age where, people live, I would expect to be like 60 years old and stuff. So you instantly get that feel, like this is a respectable young man. He doesn't say anything. It's all in his actions and what he does. He doesn't have too many expressions going on. But in Twilight Princess, it's like you're getting that mature Link, and you are getting expressions that were kind of captured in the Wind Waker Link, which is easily the most, the one with the most emotion and the one with most stuff going on. But the no speaking thing, that's okay with me. I like that he doesn't speak. Some say it kind of makes you feel like the hero, kind of like Master Chief, where you can't see him. You really get to put yourself in there. But he has a voice. Link has a face, but no voice. Although, he does have sound effects, so you kind of can figure out what he might sound like if he was to talk. But he's that silent hero, and there's something about it that just... He goes on his quest, he's got this courage within him to do his destiny, and he's humble about it. He's just an overall good guy. And that is why I choose Link as one of my favorites of all time. Because he just is a good guy. And you feel that from him. And in particular, those two Links, partially because of age.
I have to agree about the Ocarina of Time Link. Probably that is one of my favorite games of all time. But it's just he's just such a great, strong character. He's brave. He's not afraid to sacrifice, his friends his friend, I should say, in his village to go out and save the world. He's not, he's,
What do you mean by that? He's not afraid to sacrifice his friend?
well,
What?
not sacrifice, but like leave behind.
Oh, he's not afraid to leave his life behind, you mean?
Right. I mean, not that it was all that great, but, he left his friend behind.
Right, because he just had the one friend, Saria.
Right.
That was the only one.
Right. And of course, he makes many more friends, as he moves on and, explores the world. But he's just such a strong character, and his adventure was
It was grand.
awesome.
It was larger than him.
Yes.
He started as a boy, and we watch, unlike in Twilight Princess, we see him grow up in a certain way. Sure, it's mostly just through the act of a cutscene, and it says, boom, you're older, if you really want to get down to it. But the way it's presented, you feel some sort of maturity has been bestowed upon you. Like, you went on this journey as the kid. When he gets older, and it's this sudden thing, he's taller, you're stronger, you feel it as the person controlling him as well. So as a gameplay element, you feel that maturity that came with it. Even though it's just simple height and all that stuff and a little bit more strength, you feel it as the gamer because you are him. So that's part of it. I mean, so I would say that, Ocarina of Time Link more than the Twilight Princess one, but I choose the Twilight Princess one as well because he embodies the same thing. They all really do. But in particular, by the time you get... I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't played it, but by the time you get to the final battle, once you've made it past the first 3 dungeons, you're really beginning to pick up, just like in Ocarina of Time. If you haven't played it past that, then you don't see all the things that I mentioned, where he kind of has these different experiences and emotions, and the things that he comes across are darker than ever. They're right up there. Of course, Majora's Mask was darker, which is why I like the fact that Majora's Mask Link is the same Link. He goes through a lot of stuff. So that Link, if you haven't played Majora's Mask to its fullest, then you have to really see these emotions and concept that Link goes through, to really understand how courageous he is, even though he did the one adventure and saves the world. Going through Majora's Mask and doing a whole nother ballgame. It's an amazing experience. And the same thing applies with the Twilight Princess one. Once you make it past the 3rd dungeon, if you beat the game, then you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of elements in there, and especially towards the end, that if you haven't seen them, you're missing out on a whole incredible journey. Like right now, Skyward Sword is out. I can't speak for the Skyward Sword Link yet. He might be my favorite. All I know from what I've seen, this Princess Zelda in that one might be my favorite. But the Link might not be. So I can't speak on that yet, but... Because when it came down to it, Princess Zelda, she was never really a big thing for me. She was and she isn't. Like, it's all relative. But this isn't about Zelda, this is about Link. And those two, but particularly the Ocarina of Time one, because of everything that he goes through, you feel it with him. And there's something about it that just really, you connect with him that you don't in a lot of today's characters. There's a connection that goes outside of the television screen.
Okay, all right.
So that's my favorite, hands down, is Link.
See, I don't know if I have like a specific favorite,
You could have a top list.
but I know that one person on my top list is Captain or Commander Shepard.
Commander Shepard, right.
Yeah, what is his first name? John Shepard or something?
I know John is Master Chief's first name.
Oh. Well, I'm pretty sure it's John Shepard.
Like Jonathan Shepard or something.
No, just John Shepard. But they always call him Shepard, so I don't really know why a first name would matter.
Oh, because everyone refers Commander Shepard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could treat Commander as first name.
Anyways.
Right. He's a good one.
He is a good one. He is, first of all, if you choose the main character, he's handsome, so, he's got that working for him in a video game sense. And, I love the fact that they have 3 games that are where he is literally the playable character. Nothing about him changes, really. Of course, you can make up exactly what you want him to do in the story if you want him to be a dick or whatever, but personally I think that he's just such a you know, he's a good character.
I think I know partially why too.
Why?
Because what a lot of people do is, and I mean a lot of people do this. Everyone knows what he looks like, but just like in any other game where you're given options to alter what the character looks like, there is a hefty amount of people that make the character look as close to themselves as possible. So in the end, the character is themselves, because them with that look plus the decisions that they're making, since they get to choose the decisions, they would say that the character is themselves. And in that argument, I would say you really shouldn't count Commander Shepard as, I mean, this isn't for you, but I mean for the other people, say like, oh, people would pick Commander Shepard. For the ones that do, that base it off of themselves, is that really fair? Because then the character isn't a character anymore. It's really just you. But now we are imprinting the decisions on there. We make choices. But I don't know about you, but it's something that's hard for me to put into words. But when it's someone that doesn't look like you, and even though you're making the decisions, you're making these choices. When I'm making these choices, I feel like that it's Commander Shepard making them. It's being embodied through me. I'm making the choices, but all the whatever decisions you make always feel natural. They've done it extremely well, so no matter what choice you make, it will feel right, and it corresponds with what you feel morally. But because he doesn't look like me, because I kept them as the default, I feel that it's kind of like the whole, separation of church and state type thing. This is it. This is our form of it. He looks different. He is Commander Shepard. Because if he was me, I don't feel like I could accurately pick him. Because he is me. And that wouldn't count, because I am me. So that's like picking myself.
Are you your favorite?
See, that's what I'm trying to say. You can't pick yourself as your favorite.
Right.
But that's why I think it works, is because we left him as his default.
Right. Sidebar, though. I wonder if there are, like, people out there, like, of course there are, really good, moral people who always want to make the right choice. And of course that they're going to play a video game, where they want to be good because they, they think doing the right choices in a video game, is good. And then they go back and they play the game as like an asshole or something, like it's fun to be evil. You get more out of it if you're evil. But I wonder if there's like an asshole out there, or like, these people who are just rude. They don't have really a moral compass, who just, do they do the good side, or do they do the bad side, or do they skip the good side altogether?
I figure that the assholes play the asshole side, and then I imagine they kind of just leave it at that. But I imagine the people that are very morally straight, we go ahead and we're interested in both sides. We prefer the good side, but we're also curious about the bad side. I imagine the bad people just care about the bad side, just because it's just a mentality thing. The bad are bad, the good are good, but the good can also be curious about the bad, because if the bad were curious about the good, that means they acknowledge that they're bad. You see what I mean? We acknowledge we're good, so we can explore the bad side without turning bad ourselves, because we know what's right, and in fact, we could play the bad side and feel sickened by some of the choices on the bad side. A bad person, they would just play the good side, and I imagine because they're bad, they would say, "Oh, pussy, you can't believe that choice. It's so dumb." Like, you see what I mean? Like, the bad are just bad. And if they could accept the good stuff and see it, they would already be good themselves. They wouldn't be bad. So that's how I imagine it.
Okay, well, my next favorite character is also from the same series. Can you take a guess who he is?
Who he is, Garrus.
No.
Oh, because that's Sue.
Your favorite is?
I love Garrus. He's awesome. He's like your bro in the great way. Like, he's a great guy. So if it's not him, then it's clearly I'm picturing a guy, but I can't remember his name. It's gonna sound bad if I just say the black guy. Oh, whoops, I just said it. The black guy?
No!
What's his name?
Because the person I'm thinking of are in all 3 video games.
In all 3 of them? We haven't played with the 3rd one yet.
I know, but I know for a fact he's in the 3rd one.
Do I know he's in the 3rd one?
Probably.
Probably. Okay, it's clearly not the main guy in number 2. It's in the first one. I have to think who's in the first one. Is it a partner?
No.
No.
Which just gave it away.
Okay, that just gave it away. I give up because this could.
Joker!
Joker, right?
The pilot!
I forgot about the pilot. It's been a while since I played Mass Effect. You know, the moment I get into it, I'd be like, "Oh, I can't wait!" But right now, I'm just having a mind block.
Joker!
Garrus is blocking it.
You just have a man alien crush on Garrus, don't you?
When I saw him in Mass Effect 2, that was it. I was like, so glad I did this mission early on by accident. Booyah, got Garrus. So happy.
Well, then you should play the girl shepherd, and then you can have sex with Garrus.
No, because Liara. Then she turns weird in the second one. That's a good example of a character that you can really like, and then it changes. Like, that was extremely weird. Like, Liara in the first one was the one I chose for my mate, and then in the second game, she wasn't really, like, at all like she was in the first one. Like, all the cute and shy aspects went out the window. She was a freaking broker. Like, she completely got hardened, and it was completely different. She still had her intelligence, but her personality, completely different. So it was a major difference. Like, it could show
She
the
grew
evolution.
up.
It showed the evolution of character in a way that I did not like, but that I liked because it was the evolution of a character. But I found new friendships elsewhere in the game, or new different things here and there.
What about Tally?
Tally, she changed. I liked her more in the second than the first one. I didn't like her at all, really. In the first. See, it's the opposite thing, because then it was like, well, crap. Maybe I should have slept with her in the first one. I mean, geez.
I don't think you actually can sleep with her in the first one.
No, I don't. But I think you get the point, though, about relationship.
Yeah, anyways.
But that's a good example. It's a little sidebar note about how character development could change. So I could have said, if I only played the first one, I could have maybe said, of course I wouldn't, though, because she's not a strong enough character. I could have said, yeah, Liara was great. But then I play the second one, it could instantly change. So when you have sequels and things like that, you really have to take into account the depth of a character. Or specify. Because that character is changed. No matter what you do, that character is changed. It's not a choice that you make to influence that person. In this particular instance. Alright, so you got 2. You got Commander Shepard and you got Joker. Both from the same game.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You have anyone else? What about Tom Nook?
No, he does not have a sweet ass.
For those of you wondering what she's referencing, I'm not gonna mention it.
Game Grumps!
Oh, jeez. We're a fan of Game Grumps. I mean, we're all fans of each other, I'm sure. But there's just something that stuck with me. Don't give me that look. For whatever reason, that particular joke stuck. But I like Tom Nook. He's actually, if I was to pick some favorite characters...
you really picked Tom Nook. What's so special about Tom Nook? He's a crook.
I wouldn't pick Tom... Well, Tom Nook is just running a business. I mean, no matter what way you spin it, you could say, okay, you could animate... It's just like animators have put it, or in one way, where they say, okay, Tom Nook is like, oh, you got no money. Oh, that's okay. You can have this house. Don't worry. You can pay me off. You get right to work right away. You don't even get to relax. But don't worry. You can say hi to everyone. But then you're going to slave away from me and do this job. Then you'll all the bells, right? Well, you know what? I look at the other way. He's kind enough that you come into this town with only like 100 bells. You have like a 100th of your payment, right? Not even a 20% down that most people do. And you come in here with this tiny little ratty payment. In fact, I think it's like a 20th of a payment. So 1%. 1% down. He gives you the ability to live in the house of your choosing out of 4 different houses and with only 1% down, and then he requires only like 1 night's worth of work. If you think about that in real life, you're like, holy crap, only 1% house down, and then you only have to work for an employer for like 1 evening, and then you could pay off the rest of it whenever you desire. 0 interest down. Forever. I mean, you could die without paying it off. So Tom Nook is not even closely remoted to a crook. In fact, and then he'll buy all your useless crap like seashells and all this stuff every goddamn day. Like he's like when I really look at it, Tom Nook is one of the most generous people in video game history. He's extreme and he's smiling all the time and he expands his business when you sell and buy enough stuff from him. And he gives you fair prices for useless crap all the time. And then he gives you fair prices for stuff that isn't crap. The point is, he's constantly fair, and he starts by being way more than above fair. If it was anyone else, they would not sell you that house, and with not that kind of rate. And some people say, "Oh, but it's just a game." You know what? You're meant to play this game for like 5 minutes a day. It's supposed to correspond to real life. So Tom Nook is one of my favorite characters because he is one of the nicest characters when you really look down to it. And Tom Nook is actually, seriously, for that reason, one of my favorite characters. Because his generosity, it just blows my mind. He's not a crook in any sense, with all those facts presented to you. And not once does he say things in a mean way. If anything, the meanest character of Animal Crossing is Mr. Rossetti. Tom Nook is one of the nicest characters in history. He's most hated because he's misunderstood by a lot of people. But when you really look at it, he's great.
I think probably the meanest character in Animal Crossing would have to be the night male pelican.
Right, she would definitely.
She's a bitch.
Because Mr. Rossetti's just trying to help you.
Yeah.
He's just frustrated with you, that's all. Because he likes you. The male lady, she's just... But so, there we go. So I got Link, and I got Tom Nook. How's that for blowing your mind? So I got 2, and you got 2 so far. So you got Commander Shepard and Joker, and I got 2 different characters from 2 different games. You got 2 characters from 1 game. Let's go on to our third one. What's your third? And remember, this isn't in order, by the way. For me, it actually is right there. But this isn't in no particular order.
I don't really think I have any other favorites. Like, I mean, of course I like Altair, but, you know, do I like him more than Ezio, or do I like him less than Ezio? Or do I like Omar from Pikmin more than I like, you know, like...
I think Ezio easily is... But part of it's not even fair. It's 3 games of story and all this stuff versus 1. And you see Ezio grow up from, like, age 17 all the way to, like, 50.
Right.
But I get what you're saying, though. Like, it's hard to pick sometimes because there's just so many good characters out there that you really have to limit yourself on why. And Mass Effect characters were a good choice. Was there anything outside of Mass Effect?
I'm trying to think, and I can't for the life of me remember her name, but Fallout New Vegas, there is a companion that you can have, and all she talks about is wearing dresses. Oh, what is her name?
But is that why you like her?
Yeah, she's just so cute and adorable. She's like, "Oh, I got a dress you gave me," you know, and she's just all excited. Like, she's in the wasteland, and the thing that she wants most, more than a friendship or, you know, a husband or food, she wants to be a pretty little girl, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just think that that's so adorable of her.
Yeah, this actually sounds very good as a pick for a character. You're in this horrible, rotting land, and it's just completely desolate. It's filled with war every step you take, and she's just always this happy, perky character.
Yeah, and, you know, don't get her wrong, she'll beat your face in within, you know, 2 seconds, but she wants to do it in style.
Well, she just wants to have... That sounds like... It doesn't even... Well, that doesn't sound like what you were just describing. She'll do it to you in style. That doesn't sound like... Sounds like a badass. Like, it sounds like she's just an adorable person who just happens to be able to be good with weaponry. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
she wants to do it in a stylish dress.
Does she actually want to do it in a stylish dress, or does she want to just be in a stylish dress? Because there's a drastic difference.
Well, I think she likes fighting. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played, so it's hard to say. It sounds like she's
a very cutesy, adorable character, very uplifting, very good supportive character to make her a favorite character, period. Because she's with you all the time.
Right.
So she practically is a main character in her own way. So that makes her a very, very good pick for a third character. If I had to pick a third one, just to be even with numbers, you know, I grew up with Mario and all them, and Luigi and all them, you know. It's, but By the way, I like Luigi a lot, but you know what? It's hard to pick characters like that, because I like the ones with the story, I like the ones with elements and all this other stuff. But you know what? There is, I do like a lot. It's all relative. Is I like Geno from Super Mario RPG. I think Geno is a great character. A lot of people love him. He has a huge fan base. He was only in the one video game. I also like Mallow from that game. A lot of people don't like him, but he's still a great character. But Geno, though, he stood out. He was a great new original character, and we haven't seen him since. But at the same time, you know who I really like? Bowser. Bowser was great in that game. It was a whole different light. We actually got to hear dialogue from him. It wasn't like it is with Mario Galaxy and all these other things. He doesn't talk really that much. He just says he's all bad, but you get to see it in a different light with Bowser in this one. The writing was just very unique in this game. That I would pick Bowser and Geno from this game because of the writing. This is what made it. That sold these characters in a whole new way. That first of all, you only had Geno for the one game, and you get to see Bowser in a completely different world. It was just very unique in the way it was done. And between the style of how the game played and the whole feel of it, in the end, I look back and I say, wow, Bowser was such a great character in that game that it would be drastically different without him. And Geno was such a good character too. That both of them deserve recognition. I would say that they're a tie. I don't put Geno above Bowser really. If I had to pick, I would put Geno above because that was the only game he's been in, and Bowser's been in tons. But it's the only time you see Bowser in this light, and I think that and it was very special to me. So those two tie as my third pick.
Very nice. Very nice. I can't really think of any other characters at the particular moment.
Well, what about Frank West?
No.
He's covered wars,
I don't care.
Okay. What about Ezio? You mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I like a lot of characters, but I don't know if I really have a lot of favorites. So
You just have a bunch that you like, but the favorite, you really have to be over the top.
See, it's so hard for me to be able to pick favorites because how do I say one game is better than another? Like, when there's just so many incredible games out there.
But there's always something that stands out just a little bit more. Like, I could pick a fourth one. I pick...
well, technically it'd be a fifth one.
So my fifth pick is Yuri from Tales of Vesperia. He's a great main character. He explores all sorts of different areas of emotional conflicts, and it just serves as a very likable character. Plus, I don't know if it helps if he's 21 years old. He's right there in our age bracket, so it's a little bit closer. Once again, I think that's part of it as the age card, but at the same time, he does offer something that's unique. But age, I think, does play a big factor currently, which is a shame. But at the same time, it's always relative to what you are. But I do appreciate other concepts like Commander Shepard, who is incredibly older than me. Maybe not incredibly older, but you could have an old dude, and if he's great, he's great. It's just like a lot of people like Snake in Metal Gear Solid 4, and he's incredibly old at that point. So age, does also play a factor a little bit though. But Yuri from Tales of Vesperia, I think, is a great pick. As well as the rest of the staff of that game is incredibly well done. But Yuri, I miss my adventures playing as him. Like I miss the adventure it's all, but I miss playing as him too, which is something different from something like Final Fantasy X, which I loved. But do I pick it and say, oh well, I miss my adventure playing as Tidus? Yes, but it's not quite the same. I missed the adventure playing as Tidus and being there, but the game was so complete and so great on its own, and all the characters made it together. Tales of Vesperia, all the characters made it together. Raven is my other favorite character in there. Raven, I think maybe even, he's tied with Yuri. because he offers something, and he's an older guy. And he's just incredible. And those two characters I'm going to miss a lot. I'll miss all the characters from them, but I mean, when I look back, I think of those two first. But all of them together obviously make the game. But the great thing is that we can have another game. You know, we could go on another adventure, explore another angle. And it would be great to revisit all the characters, but playing as Yuri is something I would like to do again. So those are my top 6, I guess.
I can't think of any more.
What about Ellie?
No.
No.
I don't know.
You just have more favorite games than you do.
See, I have like a lot of favorite. Well, I mean, no, I don't.
Well, even then, it's just like I said,
Okay.
with Final
How
Fantasy
about-
X and stuff. It's not just one character; it's a bunch.
How about in Donkey Kong 64? Tiny Kong was my favorite. How about in can't think of a game now. Pick a game for me.
Pikmin,
Well, that don't really have characters.
Kaya.
That doesn't really have other characters either.
Oh, so you want a game with a lot of characters, like Dead Rising? No, I had a few. Not many.
Final Fantasy X, Yuna and Lulu were my favorites. Let's see.
So let's see. So you want a game?
Left 4 Dead, Zoe was my favorite. I don't know. I can't think of any other games.
What about Fable?
Fable.
You played all of Fable too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there was just so many townspeople, and then there was the player.
Okay. What about you? Said you covered the Assassin's Creed stuff. You liked both Altair and Ezio.
Equally.
So it is equal for you.
Yes.
I'd easily pick Ezio, just for my record.
Maybe like 1 point higher, but I like them both.
I like them both too, but Ezio had more.
And Desmond is just not even on the list.
Ezio was so flushed out compared to Altair. Altair, you got to go through a small experience. Do-do-do-ding. I think your phone just went off.
Yeah, sorry.
It wanted to interrupt me because it doesn't agree with me too. It's on your side. Let's see. What's another game with a lot of characters? Well, I don't know, actually. I think that's a pretty good list, period, because between the two of us, we have like 9 characters.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think this was one of our strong podcasts, but
I think it's just good to reflect on what we like.
just kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's really hard to think about them because I've played so many games, but of course I can't think of a single one right now.
But your favorites will always stick with you. That's the thing. Like, it wasn't that hard for you to think of Commander Shepard and Joker.
Right.
They stand out
But see,
with
like,
you.
the problem with picking certain characters is that I like, in Assassin's Creed, for example, I like the environment with Altair more than I'd like the one with Ezio. But I probably like Ezio 1 point higher than I liked Altair. So it's like...
See, and then I liked, Ezio and his environment a lot better because it was less. The first one was all grays and browns, and it was just very bleak, and there really wasn't. They didn't have as many structures. They didn't have as much society going on. They did, but it wasn't the same. Then you come across Ezio's world. Taller buildings. You're in the middle of some of the most beautiful art in the world that we don't see that much anymore these days, unless it's in a museum. But you get to see it culturally everywhere. Just the styles of their buildings, their walkways, the townsfolk. But when it comes down to it, that's what a lot of games are these days, is you like everything about it. And the character doesn't stand out above it. The character is a part of that formula.
Oh, I got one. You ready?
Yes.
Nico, my cousin!
Oh, you liked.
Roman Bellic, he's such a jackass.
See, there you go. There's another one. See, but it's like you have all these things that make up a game. And it seems like the character just fits within that certain notch to make a good game. Like right now, You know, if you look at some of the games we've played, I mean, we played Darksiders and all that stuff. That was a good game overall. The character just fits right within it. In the way I don't take away the character as a separate entity. Like, if I look and I see, like, when I'm talking about Link from The Legend of Zelda, and I'm talking about these Zelda games, if the formula is, let's say you're playing a game like Darksiders, you have all these great elements, and you divide them up to equal 100%, you say this is how the pie was. Some games you feel like you're missing a little bit of that pie. Game like Darksiders, for the most part, I feel like I've got 100% of that pie. But then, when I play a game like Zelda, and I'm talking about Link as this entity after enough games have gone by and I get enough feels and enough grasp to all these characters and all that stuff, Link, he's that guy. That's for me. I look at it and I've got my Zelda pie. And I've got a full pie. But then it's almost like I've got an extra pie just for that love and appreciation of the character. Like, he stands out, and the game is incredible. And then it also has this extra dessert, which is, you know, we all expect to have a full belly, but then I pulled away something more from it. That's what a favorite character, I think, should be, is something that you have the full game experience, plus you take away that individual. It's just like any classic story. You pull away the adventure and you miss the memories, but you also resonate with that character, and you walk with that character wherever you go. It's just like reading a book, you know?
Yeah. Right.
I think it's been a good discussion. Not a discussion, a sharing experience.
Yeah. It was nice.
It was. Well, I'm Link584.
And I'm Voiceco.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you.